Technical Writing for Inspectors, Module 9, Starting Tips. Instructor, Gary A. Pace, PE, CWI, Katy, Texas, TexasWeldingEngineering.com. Okay, so our learning objectives for this module is just kind of getting some tips on how to get started. And this covers a lot of different directions. So read other people's documents, read. You're not going to be an effective writer until you read other people's stuff or read what is the expectation. Do some research. Outline the basics of what you're trying to get done. Stopping everything else and concentrating on writing. Lower your standards. Allow yourself to write badly. Walk away and come back and review. And take time before revising. Okay, so reading. All good writers read. Whether you're writing technical reports as a scientist or you're writing a novel, the next great science fiction novel, whatever. Read. The people that write well read a lot. This can't be overstated. So read other technical documents. Years ago, when I started out in the business, I have a engineering degree and I have a PE license in civil engineering. Out in Idaho, I was working as a civil engineer, was expected to write certain types of reports. So I would get other people's reports that had been written, and I would use those as the basis for my reports. I do use the Freedom of Information Act to get their reports, look at them and say, oh, this is what the body, the state, the regulatory body is looking for in a report. So I'd read their documents and use the wording and how they had everything formatted in my documents. So read other people's documents, read other stuff. And when you read other people's material, it's going to give you an idea of the language, the formatting, the technical level of writing that is expected. So this is a big thing. Do your research. You should do some research before you start writing a document or report. If I'm writing a document that's explaining, shielded metal arc welding to people that don't understand arc welding, shielded metal arc welding, I'm going to read probably a few articles on it and then use that as the basis of my report. And once you start writing, it doesn't mean you're done doing research for your report. Things might hit you in the middle of writing that report and you go look something up. So just because you did some research doesn't mean you're done doing research. And it's super important to do research before you start writing your report. So then you have some of those technical words and maybe some concepts, and then just the technical layout of how that report should be written and what the reader is going to be expected. So this is going to help form the basis of your report or document. You're going to want to outline the basics of your report when you're starting. You're going to try and get together an outline of where you're starting and where you're going. What is this report trying to accomplish? What information are you trying to communicate to the reader? We've covered this on a couple other modules, but this doesn't go away. This is a very important part of writing. What are you trying to communicate to the reader? Stephen King, when he writes a horror novel, he's trying to communicate fear and terror and a good storyline. Me, when I write a report, I'm just writing to convey technical information to some individual that is trying to read it and has a specific purpose for reading that document. Concentrate on writing. When you get into this, you need to concentrate on writing. You need to manage or eliminate distractions. And that means, kids, dog, wife, neighbor, your video game habit that you have going on, whatever. Concentrate on writing. Eliminate or manage distractions. Stop everything else and concentrate on writing that report. You got to focus on writing what you're writing, because if you're sidetracked, it's not going to function very well. Multitasking doesn't work. Taking care of the kid and trying to write is not going to get you to where you need to be. And I know in modern life and any life, there's a lot of other tasks that we need to be doing just in maintaining a household or relationship, whatever. But multitasking doesn't work so well. You need to just put everything aside and concentrate on writing. Establish a workspace that has a laptop, a computer, a pen, notebook, your little workspace where you're going to do your writing. That's your little ecosystem, your office. That's what you need to focus on. Uh, that's what you need to focus on. Shut out the world. Just crawl in your little writing cocoon and go to it from there. You need to shut out the world. And this will really help your production and ability to produce quality documentations, reports, and whatnot. All right, lower your standards. And this is my theory, and I poached it from somewhere else. It kind of backs it up. But lower your standards when you're writing your rough draft. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfection. You just need to, for the first draft of your document, you just need to get something on paper. You need to get through that writer's block. You need to get something down on paper. So if it's not perfect, don't worry about it. We're just looking to get something started. We don't need to be going 100 miles an hour right out of the gate. We can build up to getting there. The key is to get something on paper, and we're going to go from there. We can come back and fix it. You can look at the grammar later or whatever, but you want to have be able to get something on paper without getting tied up in perfection and grammar and everything being perfect. We're just lower your standards and relax. And this piggybacks off the previous slide. Allow yourself to write badly. Who cares? Um, Write badly for that when you're doing your rough draft. We're just looking to get something on paper. Then we can clean it up. A lot of the stuff I write is just garbage when I put it on paper the first time. And I might nuke it, clean it up, rework it, edit it, delete it, have somebody look at it, whatever. But I get something on paper that I can work with. That is the key. Don't freak out. Don't panic. Don't get into a slump if what you're writing isn't perfect from the very start. We can work with it later on. We can trim it down, add words, subtract words, clean up the punctuation, make the grammar a little cleaner, work with it. We're just trying not to hit the panic button right out the gate. We're going to clean everything up later. Very rarely do we write something the first time and it's perfect, ready to go. So we're going to clean it up later and make the document more readable and better and more efficient at communicating information to the reader. Once again, don't panic. Just write. And if it's bad writing, don't worry about it. We'll come back to it. You can come back to it later and clean it up. Sometimes you're going to have to just walk away, take a break, walk the dog. You've written for 3 hours and you've just hit the wall. You just can't write anymore. It's just not happening for you. So walk away, come back. The human mind, it works in funny ways. You can come back and, go walk the dog, go play some basketball, do whatever, go for a drive, ride your bike. And you come back and look at something you've written and you come at it from a different direction. Oh, I could reword that paragraph. I'm going to clean that paragraph up. Or, just it's amazing what you can do with a little time. Because when you walk away and come back, you're going to find better ways to word the document, better ways to clean up the grammar. You're going to look at, and I do this all the time, and I've been writing for 30 years. I come back and look at my writing and look and think, holy criminy, who wrote this garbage? And I clean it up. But it wasn't perfect the first time, but it's down there on paper. It gets back to what I said. Allow yourself to write badly. And then you're going to come back later and reread it, and your mind's going to look at it and find mistakes like you didn't even write that. So don't be afraid to walk away and come back and review your documents and fix things. That's kind of how the writing process works. You're going to find mistakes, and we're going to fix mistakes. Just how it works. So take your time before revising. Don't pound out a document and then come back 5 minutes later and revise it. And I say this, a lot of times we're under time constraints for customers or our bosses or whoever the end report is for, but take your time before revising. This is especially true with emails. We'll talk about that later on, but some documentation, just take your time. Give it an hour or so to stew, or 2 hours, or a day, depending on when your document needs to be written and turned in or delivered to the reader, the customer, the client. Take some time, because I guarantee you can come back 2 hours later or a half a day later and look at the same document and be like, God, that was terrible. And you'll clean it up and you'll have a much better finished product. It also, when you get a little bit of distance from your document, mentally get some distance where you're thinking about something else, then you can come back and clean the document up. Clean it up, revise it, and fix everything. So, summary. We talked about the importance of being able to read other documents, similar documents to what you're going to be producing. Do your research. Outline the basics of what you're trying to get done. Stop everything and concentrate on writing. Lower your standards a little bit for the rough draft. Allow yourself to write badly. Don't freak out. Just set the tone a little lower. Walk away, come back and review, and then take your time before revising your document. Questions? Gary A. Pace, PE, CWI, Katy, Texas, TexasWeldingEngineering.com. Got any questions or comments? Contact me and I'll try and see what I can do to help you.